Angel Reese says WNBA players could go on strike over salary. She's got to be the worst shooter you've met in your life.
Following Patrick Bet-David's ruthless destruction of her most recent prank, Angel Reese just burst out laughing.
They gonna get more. They probably gonna be making more than us. If y'all don't give us what we want, like, we sitting out.
She believed that complaining about her pay while performing poorly would garner sympathy, but it backfired. It turns out that being envious of Caitlin Clark without supporting it in court only gets you humiliated rather than compensated.
Career you choose, you should probably look at what the career earnings are of going into that field. What I'll also say is this: every single one of you WNBA players, you better pray that Caitlin Clark doesn't get injured.
Because if you know Patrick Bet-David, you already know that he uses nonsense to destroy CEOs, influencers, and athletes, regardless of who is in front of him.
Angel Reese says WNBA players could go on strike over salary and benefits. All right, so Angel Reese says...
When Angel Reese said that WNBA players should not play unless they receive higher compensation, Patrick didn't even blink. Instead, he laughed at how ridiculous it sounded. After all, this rookie, just out of college, had hardly unpacked her professional locker when she started bringing up the possibility of a strike.
I love watching her highlights of missing shots. She's got to be the worst shooter you've met in your life.
She somehow believes that threatening to leave the floor is the right option in a league that is losing millions of dollars annually and is dependent on the NBA for survival.
I'm hearing like, they don't give us, if y'all don't give us what we want, like, we sitting out.
That's a possibility, for real.
We're sitting out.
Her mouth was almost impressively large when she spoke, which is precisely why Patrick didn't even bat an eye. He had to confirm that she was serious because that interpretation was so disconnected from reality.
Has been vocal about her low WNBA salary, revealing her $74,000 a year salary doesn't cover rent, stating on Instagram Live.
Angel's entire argument revolved around the fact that she is making $74,000 annually on her rookie contract, which is $324 over 4 years, and that apparently isn't enough to keep her lights on. After all, nothing says oppression like getting paid $74,000 to play basketball while the average person works 9 to 5 and hopes to reach that amount.
I just hope you know that the WNBA doesn't pay my bills at all. I don't even think they pay one of my bills. Reese's financial struggles stem from WNBA salary.
Because Angel Reese wasn't just any rookie. She was sitting on one of the fattest paychecks college sports had ever seen while she was busy flexing at LSU. She became one of the highest paid athletes of the entire NIL era, like the literal poster child for cashing in without even needing a WNBA contract. That's precisely why Patrick didn't waste any time researching her past and destroying every last receipt.
Matching her past earnings as her NIL valuation at LSU was $1.8 million, bolstered by deals with Reebok, PlayStation, McDonald's, and Coke.
Her NIL valuation alone reached an incredible $1.8 million in 2023, stacking brand deals like trophies. Reebok coaches PlayStation, McDonald's, Amazon. Before she ever entered the professional ranks, Forbes couldn't stop placing her in the top rankings, out-earning half of the male athletes who were sitting comfortably with their salary levels. Most mid-tier NBA players would not at all. Wingtop Outback Steakhouse.
While a 4-year rookie deal was $324,000 with $74,000 due next season.
And it wasn't just the check she had. Her entire marketing machine was churning when she helped LSU defeat Iowa in the 2023 NCAA Championship and went viral with her trademark brazen demeanor. She wasn't just a household celebrity, she was a walking brand.
She quipped hating pays them bills, baby, noting I can't read this, Tom's better. Brand deals.
She was the epitome of success on and off the court, with social media followers blowing up headlines every week and businesses lining up to give her money. However, the story twist in 2024 hits. Angel enters the WNBA after being selected by the Chicago Sky and signs the typical rookie contract, which is the same for all rookies.
Sustain her, especially since the WNBA's $200 million revenue last season only allocated 9.3% to salaries.
There are no surprises because this is the well-known WNBA contract that she signed, which is locked in by the collective bargaining agreement. The total is $324,283 over 4 years, starting at $74 or $35 per year.
Who allegedly has a $200 million revenue for the WNBA. According to my sources, it's actually closer to 150, but what's $50 million? I'll tell you what $50 million is. It's how much money the WNBA lost last year.
It didn't take long for Ree to go on social media, not to celebrate, but to begin complaining about her early 2024 paycheck. She told fans live on Instagram that her salary doesn't even cover rent, acting like a struggling intern rather than the person who just made $1.8 million annually. She made it clear that she was irritated and that she felt it was unfair, and somehow this was the hill she wanted to plant her flag on.
Sports strikes in history. 1994, the MLB strike. It was the first time that the World Series was canceled.
I remember.
You remember that?
Cue Patrick's wager. David didn't mince words. Instead, he went straight to the point like a sniper. He began by reminding everyone that Angel wasn't just some underdog eking out a living. Rather, she was the queen of NIL, stacking millions of dollars in endorsements before she ever stepped onto a WNBA court. She wasn't just playing basketball, she was mastering the system. Fast forward to the present, when she is shocked to learn that her WNBA contract doesn't match an NBA salary. Patrick didn't even try to soften the blow, saying bluntly, "You knew what this gig paid before you signed up."
$40 million this past season. So here's the catch when you're going to go on strike. In 1994, MLB, NBA, NFL, what's the number one revenue sport in America? What do you think it is? The NFL. How much do you think they make? $17 billion.
And everyone should see by now that the WNBA isn't a business in the true sense. It's not in the sense of making money, growing revenue, and turning a profit. To call the WNBA a business is like calling a kiddie pool an Olympic swimming facility. It's a cute idea, but it doesn't work.
$7 billion with a B. You guys are a alleged $150 to $200 million company. You're operating at a loss every single year. You've never made money. It's called a zombie.
Since the facts don't lie, start with them. The WNBA has been a loss-making machine since day one, and each year is just another entry in the loss column. This is not an opinion. Rather, it is a financial obituary that dates back to 1997 almost. 30 years ago, and every year it is just one big red minus sign. There have been no profitable seasons or even a lucky break-even year to boast about.
How many teams are in the WNBA?
9?
No, 13. How many games do they play?
80?
40.
Damn it.
Who won the championship this year and who played in the finals?
The Florida Magics.
Nope, the New York Liberty beat.
It's funny that players are out there requesting higher pay, but famous analysts are unable to even keep track of the game details.
NBA should get paid more.
In 2023, the league loses an additional $50 million, and that's not a one-time event. In 2022, they lost $40 million. So not only are they losing money, but they're also becoming better at it. How is the WNBA handling this? Big Brother comes in every year with $10 to $12 million to keep the lights on. And no, that's not an investment. It's not a calculated business move. It's a straight-up bailout, a charity donation, a public relations favor. It's less business and more philanthropy with the scoreboard.
The pay gap would be something that, we could just take a donation around the NBA maybe one night y'all don't go to the casinos.
I have something on this, though, because it pisses me off. It pisses me off because I don't think there's anyone in America that supports the WNBA.
And Patrick bet is precisely where David fires Angel Reese and the other players for their irrational little strike concept, because let's face it, the WNBA isn't just a losing business. It's a black hole that has been draining money for decades. And the NBA continues covering it with band-aids worth millions of dollars.
Ladies who are making $74,000 a year
For playing 40 games.
Playing 40 games, something called an ROI on your investment. You chose this profession. You know how much you make in the WNBA. If you go to college, you're going to become a major, look at the ROI on the major. If you go to trade school, look at the ROI on that.
Patrick doesn't even need to think twice when Angel becomes adamant about going on strike unless they increase her pay, because he makes it clear that the NBA would save money if the players went on strike, because there would be no games, travel expenses, payroll, or marketing expenditures.
Whatever your career you choose, you should probably look at what the career earnings are of going into that field. What I'll also say is this: every single one of you WNBA players, you better pray that Caitlin Clark doesn't get injured.
And to add a little more sting to it, Patrick adds that many of the WNBA's sponsorships and television agreements are set payments. So even if the games don't take place, part of the checks still come in. making it actually less expensive to not play the plot twist.
How much did the WNBA lose in 2024? You can type that up. How much did the
$40
WNBA
million bucks.
So lose in 2024, they lost 40 million. Year before was 50 million. So it's some progress that they're making from the 40-50.
Patrick explains it without sugarcoating it. The WNBA is a PR gimmick, write-off, and political statement that says, hey, we support women's sports. There is no secret cash stream or soaring profit. It's all for show.
Is it true that the WNBA makes money when they don't play? Ask that question.
What does that mean?
Yes. In a way, the WNBA has historically lost money and receives financial support from the NBA, which means that the WNBA games are not played. The league can actually save money by avoiding operating costs.
Patrick is standing there saying, from what pile of cash exactly you're striving for a bigger slice of losses? You can't divide up debt like it's bonus money. There's no pie here, just crumbs and IUS. While Angel threatens walkouts and demands larger checks online. And let's be honest, this is when things get messy. Reese's fury isn't limited to her base pay. Rather, her entire approach is focused on building her brand, which brings us to her tiny fixation with those double-doubles.
If the WNBA has broadcasting and sponsorship agreements that often pays out regardless of how many games are played, if the league cuts costs while the 2026 keep go a little bit low, Rob, if the NBA runs on, bottom line is that WNBA doesn't make any money.
You've witnessed it. Her first season with the Chicago Sky starts to play double-doubles game after game. It sounds amazing, right? Double-digit points and double-digit rebounds would make headlines, but when you look a little closer, everyone starts to wonder what game she's actually playing, including fans and former NBA players.
Had a record-breaking high in 20 years with a total of 2.3 million fans attending games, okay? You know what the increase was from 2024 to 2023 in attendance in a year? 48%.
The Indiana Fever, led by Caitlin Clark, are destroying the Sky in that famous game. The starters are resting, and Clark is chilling on the bench, but Ree is still grinding on the court, not because she's staging a comeback, but rather because she's padding her stats, grabbing just enough rebounds and points to secure another double-double.
If the WNBA has broadcasting and sponsorship agreements that often pays out regardless of how many games are played, if the league cuts costs while the 2026 keep go a little bit low, Rob, if the NBA runs on, bottom line is that WNBA doesn't make any money.
And this isn't some conspiracy theory. Dwayne Wade publicly criticized Ree for inflating her stats during garbage time. Commentators dissected it frame by frame, and let's not pretend the Chicago Sky coaching staff didn't know what was going on because they abandoned her long after it mattered because her double-double streak looked good on paper, even though the team was losing. It wasn't about strategy, teamwork, or chasing wins. It was all about restacking numbers for the gram. If you want to know why Angel Reese suddenly believes she's entitled to a larger paycheck without corresponding results, you don't have to search far.
Because she's keeping your league afloat. Without her, ain't nobody care about
Okay, let me show you this. I got it.
But when Clark entered the league in 2024, it wasn't just another rookie. Rather, it was a full-on economic earthquake, and the attendance figures weren't just high, they were ridiculously high.
A fact.
Phenomenon, yeah.
Then, and when it comes down to merch from 23 to 24, they're up 601%.
Every time Clark's name appears on the calendar, stadiums go from half empty to standing room only. The WNBA unexpectedly boasted a 48% increase in attendance over the previous season, the largest gain in 20 years, with over 2.3 million spectators pouring into arenas.